Hello and welcome back. Thanks for coming to see me. So awesome to kind of see you. Maybe I have to use my psychic powers to see you over here. This is an eTechSplainer, and we're going to talk about Ruby Flex or FlexRubi rather, FlexRubi.ai IntelliChat. We would be you and me. I'm Vinny Martinelli. If you don't recognize me, that's okay. It happens to all of us. You just get a little old. Don't worry about that. In any case, I am still Vinny Martinelli. And if you want to be on my email list so you can get more of these things, including lead magnets and documents and videos and so forth, you want to just scan on that guy right over there with your phone. On the other hand, if you want to get right to it and get started with Rubi AI, right there is where you click on with your phone. Very good. We're going to go right into it. So this is going to be a little bit of an ad hoc sort of a presentation today. So I'm looking to give you some information off the cuff that a lot of people don't necessarily know about or use as much as they maybe should use. And we'll see how this goes. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can get an understanding of where I'm starting. And right here is where you usually start. Actually, let's get rid of that. Normally you won't see that. Normally you won't be in IntelliChat. However, since we're going to start with IntelliChat, that's a great place to begin. I had some other videos on this, so I'll briefly touch on some of those things, but I'm really going to concentrate more on the actual IntelliChat features. So we have some workspaces over here, and you either have two or more. So depending on the package that you get, but you have at least two workspaces. I have only created my second one. So my workspace comes automatically with FlexRubi, and I created the creation workspace because I create when I do that. So once you do that, now that's really the first step you want to do. You want to click on what workspace you want to be working in before you do anything else. And then typically you want to pick a project. So in this case, my project, I'm just going to select Ruby. It's one of the many. You can select as many projects, or you can have as many projects as you want. You can select one for this conversation. And then you want to figure out, okay, here normally is the point where you want to click on IntelliChat, right? So normally you pick your workspace first, then your project, then you want to click on what function you want, whether it's IntelliChat or the modules or the personify and so forth. We're going to click on the IntelliChat, and it would automatically load a blank page because you're in a new chat automatically. If you're in a chat and you want to change the conversation, change the subject or whatever, click new chat and begin again. And then you want to click your model. So your model is going to be which one of the IntelliChat features that you're going to use. So FlexRubi AI puts together 10 of them. And we have, as you can see, the GPT Mini, the GPT-40 command, and so forth. So just pick any one of those. Now, what's great about this is these little icons here tell you what's going on with it a little bit more. So if you see this icon, which is almost impossible to see in any kind of real focus in this video, but when you look at it, you'll understand. But it says, if you just hover over, it says vision enabled. That means that you can create or you can give it an image and it will know what it is. It'll describe that image to you if you ask for it to do that. Then this one says anchoring enabled. So if you want to have Ruby just tell you an answer about something specifically based on only one source, for instance, a website, then you can click anchor to URL, and then you have to paste in, or you can type if you're, got a typewriter, in this website URL spot right here. And then all of the answers that you get will be based on that anchor until you unanchor it. Similarly, you can anchor file. So then you would upload a file. That file would need to be a PDF. And then all of the responses will be based on that anchored file. You can also store some of your files. As you can see, I've got a bunch of them stored here. And then if you want Ruby to just look at that file, you would click on whichever one of these makes sense for whatever project you're working on, so that it'll be anchored to that and your responses will be based on that. Now, that's regardless of which chat model you use, except some of them don't have anchoring. So this GPT-40 Mini only has this one icon for vision enabled. It doesn't have the anchor icon, so you won't be able to anchor anything to it. Here we go to GPT-40 OpenAI, and that again is vision but not anchor enabled. So we'll go to the next one. This is Command Cohere, and that is anchoring enabled. So if you want to anchor your responses or have Ruby look only at those anchors, then you can use, for instance, Command Cohere. If you go over to this is Command 4096 Cohere. If you want to look at Command R128 Cohere, it's also anchor enabled. Claude Opus Anthropic, oh look, it's vision enabled and it's anchor enabled. So you can use any one of those. This is the Claude Sonnet, and again, you can anchor or vision. You look at Claude Haiku, same thing, vision or anchoring, and Claude Anthropic doesn't have any of those. So you can't anchor it to, or you can't, it's not vision enabled and it's not anchor enabled. Gemini Pro from Google, same thing. It's not enabled for either the anchoring or for the vision. And Gemini 1.5 Pro is enabled for the vision and not for the anchoring. Also, you want to look at these if you're really concerned. If you're going to do it, tons and tons and tons of this stuff, you want to look up at the top here where it says this is how many words that you have left in your bank until it refreshes at the end of your particular month. And then right next to it, as I move myself out of your way here, this tells you how many credits. So in this case, IntelliChat works with words. So you can see I have 500,000 words left. So I'm not really concerned with using words. If you are concerned, you want to look here where it says free unlimited. That means you can ask it whatever you want, and the responses are not going to cost you any words. This one, however, has 1 word so for every word that it returns to you, it's 1 word out of your bank of words up here that it will use. And you want to check each one of these. Now, if you're not concerned about which using the words or not, then that doesn't matter. But if you are concerned about it, just be aware of that. Claude Anthropic is one of my favorites. It just seems to give me the responses that I want, along with Claude Sonnet. And you can see that the Claude Opus uses 3 words and Claude Sonnet uses 1 word. So for every word that it returns to me using Opus, it's going to cost me 3 of those words for my bank up here. I've got 500,000, and I challenge Ruby a lot. So I do a lot of work with Ruby. I don't even look at this. There's plenty of words to go around, perfectly fine. So, but you might be doing something that's extra large, and you have to maybe pay attention to the amount of words that you have left in your bank. And again, look at the Claude Haiku. So you can use that free and unlimited. The Claude Instant, same thing, free unlimited. Gemini Pro, free unlimited. And Gemini 1.5 Pro uses 1 word for every word that it returns to you. I mentioned these anchoring icons down here. You can see this one's a little bit larger. And this tells you that it is vision enabled, but it's also going to tell you that it does use 100 words per image submitted. So it's not per word that it returns to you, it's per word, per image. So if you only do this for 1 image, then you've used 100 points. If you use 10 images, for instance, in one day, then of course 10 times 10 is 1,000. You know, this is 1 in Italian, this is 1 in American. I learned that a long time ago. So in Italian, if they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but in America, we tend to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you learn something extra. With all of these, you can look right below here, and you're going to, well, actually, let's go to modules. So this is saying select a module. So what is a module? Well, these are pre-designed sets of circumstances, so it makes it quicker for you to do certain things. I'll give an example here. This says AI Money Advisor. So we're just going to click on that and just read through, but you can read through all of these. There's plenty of them to go through. And this is a module for, this module is an AI-powered financial advisor that offers so on and so forth. And then you would need to input some information. So your profile age, geographic location, then here's your financial inputs, and then here's your financial objectives. And you're going to use real language when you type in your objective, by the way, not necessarily just technical terms. So as though you're having a conversation with a financial advisor. your risk tolerance. Now you're going to select one of these drop downs. Right? Are you conservative, moderate, and so forth. And then investment preferences. So in this case, it's going to ask you if you're more into mutual funds or stocks, or maybe you like commodities, whatever the case is. Go down a little bit further, and it asks you about your credit score and asks you about your financial concerns. When you're done with all that, you click generate, and that quickly your AI financial advisor is going to give you the results that's based on your input. So this is one of the modules. You can look at, like I said, there's plenty of modules, and some of them are categorized, or I suppose all of them are categorized. Here's a health and wellness category, or collection they call it, and it has 3 modules within it. So if you're looking to lose weight, you want to click on that module, see what it's going to ask you for the inputs, you fill it out, and then you click that generate, and poof, you're going to have in a very short period of time something that's customized based on your responses. There's a collection on education. And so this is really, I think, I'm not a teacher, but this seems to be a really great idea for lesson plans for some teachers who maybe aren't constrained by the school system, because in some school systems, they're really rigid and they sort of give you the lesson plan. And in this case, you can help to create your own. Also, if you have some students that are having a little trouble, maybe a tutor isn't in the cards, and maybe homework at home is a little difficult for them or whatever, you can create a study guide for them. So that'll make it a little bit easier, and it's not that much time or energy out of your particular day. Of course, if you create it once, you can most likely use it for all of your students for that particular topic in that particular grade level for that particular year. So you create it once and can really use it. And actually, you can offer it to all your students, I suppose. And if anyone wants to use, great. If they don't want to, that's okay. They don't have to. Here's an essay writer for college level students. Many different collections here. So you scroll through these, and every time you click on one, you're going to get whatever's available. But you can also just search it. So let's say that I want to search the word menu, and poof, here comes a module. Let's see, that doesn't have one. Let's see, a recipe. I thought we had one under menu. Meal. Pretty sure we've got one there. Okay, so this is advanced multi-day meal plan. This, to me, is one of the most underused collection or module available. So just going to briefly go through that. It's going to give you the description. It's going to tell you all about what it does. It's going to ask you about your diet type. So in this case, are you Mediterranean? So I am of Mediterranean descent. I enjoy Mediterranean food. So that would be one of my top choices, probably my first choice. Vegan, paleo, dash, normal. Normal. That's a very interesting word for this particular topic. Preferred protein. So maybe you like chicken, but maybe you prefer turkey, or maybe you're a beef kind of person, so on. So you're going to click whichever one makes sense. Your preferred vegetables. So you can go right down here. Of course, broccoli, spinach have to be everybody's favorite. Maybe not. Preferred carbohydrates. Preferred snacks. Meal plan or serving. So you can tell it, well, you just want a recipe for one serving. That's great. Maybe you want it for 2 or 3 and so forth, and all the way up to 12 servings. And how many meals consumed? So do you want to have 12 of these meals, but they're all for breakfast? Or do you want to have 4 for breakfast, 4 for lunch, 4 for dinner, whatever you might want? And your meal plan length, so how many days you want this meal plan to be, and so on and so forth. And it seems weird that you're going to check your local geographic location. And the reason for that is that when you click this generate, it will give you the total cost for all the groceries you need for that. And you can ask it to also break it down to, in some cases, for instance, I did one of these and it said, well, you got to go to this store for these groceries. And this store doesn't sell some of those things. So you can only buy these things at that store. And then it gave me a third store. Also, in some cases, it said, well, maybe you can get broccoli then in one of those places, but these guys are having a sale on it, or something to that effect. So check through those modules. It's an awesome way to save yourself some time and get some really great results out of that. Underneath each of these three, we'll call them buttons, you have a selection for persona. So you can create personae, or you can have some of these personas that are built into the system. Probably you want to click on the persona. This is not you, though. You are not the persona necessarily. I suppose you can. This is really for your intended audience. So let's say that you are trying to attract people who have issues with diabetes. So this particular one is named Diane Diabetes. So in that persona will be her age range, economic probably status, and her geographic location, and what other complications she might have, and so on. And that would be your ideal client for whatever project you're working on. You can also theoretically use that for you. You can tell Ruby, create this response in that persona. So not that you're speaking to that intended audience, but you're speaking from a position of being in that intended audience. So a lot of different things you can do here. And then we have voice selection. So this one is locked out. Most likely it's due to the, nope, can't answer that. So in any case, sometimes you get the tone or the voice that you can select. For some reason, I must be doing something wrong with those. We'll have to check on that a little bit later. The idea, though, is to check through these. Now, if you're just starting, or if you just want generic responses, or if you want something really quick, don't worry about any of these things. These are if you're really going to dig down and get deep into how you want your presentation to be, whether you are asking Ruby to create a script for an article or a newsletter or a social page post, or maybe a social page message, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to ask Ruby that. Now, speaking of that, there are things called prompts. Prompts can be very useful. And here's how you set up your prompts. You go in under this big word canvas and you click on prompts, and then you would create a prompt, and then you would save that prompt. So in this case, I am going to do, we'll just take a look at this prompt here because it's something a little bit different. So I named the prompt, and then I selected what chat model I prefer to use for that prompt. I gave it the name of the project that I'm working on. So up here where we selected Ruby, in that case, that's the project that it's going to be designated for, and then write or paste the prompt here. So please write this in a newspaper article style. That's all I gave it, but you could really add a lot of data to that. You can say, speak in the tone of a third grader, or speak to people who are over the age of 75, whatever the case is. You can also say, make it hilarious, or make it serious, make it technical, depending on who your audience is. And once you set up that particular prompt, you would then go, and in this case, it's asking me to update it. But in the case of something that you're just doing for the first time, you'd be creating that prompt. Now, how do you use the prompts? Well, then you go back over to your IntelliChat, and then you click on this pink, we're calling that a drawer. It's like a file cabinet drawer. And then you go up here and you click on the word prompts. And then you'll have a selection of all the different prompts. So in this case, let's see, improve email series. So in this particular one, it says, here's my proposed email series. So you can see the very long prompt that I created, or medium, I guess. Here's my next proposed email in the Nexus travel campaign. Please make it better. Please also use the designation for first name. That could be different from one platform to the next. In this case, I wanted to make it for system.io, and that's how it's designated in that platform. Anywhere that the recipient's first name should be, and please add the recipient's first name 3 times. So I'm specifically saying, people like to hear their name. Put it in this email 3 times. Please also insert double space. I will send email by, okay, so I'm giving it more information about what I'm going to do so that it doesn't prompt me to do it. And then I also said, well, I want 3 calls to action. And I input the web addresses for those call to action. So now when I click send, it's going to understand all of that, and it's going to produce something that will have all of those features in it. Incidentally, down here in the settings, you could do two things. You could make it so that when you hit the enter key, you're entering a line of white. That's a space. Okay, in the newspaper world, that's called the line of white. Or you can make it so that when you hit the enter key, it's automatically going to send this prompt out. So sending it is the equivalent of clicking on this email. So if I had this set up for the return key to provide a line of white, how would you send it? Well, you send it with this paper airplane. And it's amazing what paper airplanes can do and how far they can go. So that was really the presentation that I wanted. I hope that it was useful. It gives you a little deeper understanding of some of the fun things you can do with Rubi.ai IntelliChat and how deep you can go into these things and how productive it can be. So you're using the prompts or you're using the different chat models. And each one of these chat models, this is on a different eTechSplainer, is described and defined, and it'll let you know what their specific skill set is. So if you want something, for instance, that's a little bit longer or more technical, then you would use one of these. If you wanted to be just short and brief, just give me the answer, you would use a different one of those and so forth. So I do have an eTechSplainer on that. And that's what I have for you today. So now I am going to stop the share and ask you to please make sure that you click that thumbs up and that you click that like, share, and button for me. Give me some responses to let me know what you thought about this particular video. Let me know your experiences on these topics. Let me know what else you might want from me. And again, you can go to this QR code if you want to be on that email list, and it's a monthly list. I'm not going to send you out a whole bunch of junk. That's way too time consuming for me. Or if you want to go directly and get started with Ruby, I strongly recommend that. This program is amazing. All of these things in one place. I showed you only a tiny bit today. I have other eTechSplainers on some other topics. That's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you got something out of it. Look forward to seeing you again. Take care.